In Port-au-Prince. Thanks, Lucia. Well, the reaction from Colonel Gaddafi's press conference, or indeed his speech to the nation, has so far been relatively muted, but there has been some reaction on the social media sites. Imran Khan has been monitoring what's been going on at the web desk.
Absolutely, Taimur. Well, lots of talk right now on Libya and that Gaddafi speech. Let's take a look at some of the recent posts on the micro-blogging site Twitter. Janubia says this about the speech. Dictator Muammar Gaddafi has stated, "We will fight until the very end." Libyans have bravely responded, and so will we. Raffatology on the confusion some feel about his words. No one can translate what Gaddafi says. We need to translate it from Arabic to Arabic first. And another popular opinion about the content of his speech. This man is leading the world, apparently. Away from the speech, and others are reacting. Now, again, it's impossible to confirm these tweets, but this one is defiant. Women in Tripoli preparing containers of boiling water and oil to pour over the heads of mercenaries. And this on the crackdown of journalists. Virtual Activism says Libyan journalist Atef still missing since he spoke with AlJazeera a few days ago. And this on the news that some tribes in Libya have risen up against the regime. AlJazeera tribes issue a statement saying that they control the highway from Benghazi to Ras Latif, say it's safe for travel. Now you can keep up to date with the latest, of course, including Al Jazeera reporters who are now on the border with Libya. It's all on our website. Take a look for yourselves. It's at aljazeera.net/English. Also, our live blog, a play-by-play of everything coming out of Libya, including some great opinion, analysis and reporting. So get involved on our website. So much of our reporting from Libya has come from you. Stick with us for the latest.
Well, Russia's president has been giving his view, not just of Libya, but of other rebellions that have been breaking out across the Arab world. He was attending a security conference in the southern city of Vladikavkaz, where Russian forces have been fighting against armed Islamist groups. He told reporters that he fears for the future, and he's vowed to crush any rebellions that might take place in his own country.
Look at the situation in the Middle East and the Arab world. It is extremely complicated. Great hardships are ahead. In several cases, one can talk about the disintegration of large, densely populated states, about their breakup into small fragments. These states are not simple. It is quite possible that complicated events will take place, including the arrival of fanatics to power. This will mean fires for decades ahead and the further spread of extremism.
Well, we have had a number of Libyan ambassadors around the world distancing themselves from Gaddafi's regime. Here's a quick look at who has quit so far. The ambassador to the Arab League has handed in his resignation on Sunday because of what he described as oppression against the protesters. In Poland, Libya's ambassador has done the same as a show of support for the pro-democracy demonstrators. The ambassador to India has stepped down. He says he's afraid to return to his country, and he's told Al Jazeera that fighter aircraft were used against the protesters. And in Indonesia, the ambassador there has turned his back on the Gaddafi regime for, quote, its brutal act. Australian, Bangladeshi and Malaysian diplomats are some of the others that have cut ties with the Gaddafi government. Al Jazeera's Prerna Suri has been managing to speak to Ali Al-Essawi, who's the former Libyan ambassador to India. He criticised the government's actions against the people.
There was use of airplanes, which increased the number of victims in a dramatic way. There is bloodshed now. And using the foreign mercenaries against the Libyans, it's for the first time this happened. I have never seen this, or a country using foreign mercenaries against their citizens. Now, Tripoli is occupied by these foreign mercenaries.
Who are these foreign mercenaries that we're talking about here?
People say that they are African, they are black and African, and they don't speak Arabic, and they are foreigners and doing terrible things. They go to the houses where there's children and women and killing them and doing terrible things to them.
Did Colonel Gaddafi order the use of warplanes against protesters?
Yeah, this was confirmed by the people themselves. using airplanes and helicopters, equipped with guns to fire the people on the ground. This was confirmed.
Should Colonel Gaddafi now step down?
To stop this bloodshed, I think so. He should do. He lost his legitimacy. And this is people's regime, and the people asked for that.
Will you return back to Libya?
Not now. I can't go now. I'm not safe. I will not be safe. I'm not sure I will be safe there.
What's your message to the people in Libya who may be watching you, who've lost their loved ones during these protests?
God help you. You have gave a very good example for patience and continuity. Keep your continuity to get your demands.
Now, as all those ambassadors have quit their posts in anger, there's been a little bit of confusion in the United States about the ambassadors to the United Nations. Scott Heidler is at the UN in New York for us. Scott, what's happening with the representatives over there?
Yeah, well, we've heard now that the first part of this Emergency Security Council meeting has ended, and that's the part that had this confusion, Tamar. It was either between the deputy ambassador from the Libyan mission to the United Nations or the ambassador himself from the Libyan delegation to the United Nations presenting to the Security Council. We have now found out it was definitely the ambassador, and that part of this meeting has ended. What's going on right now is the Security Council is in private consultations, and what they're doing now is putting together the wording of a press statement that'll come out, be read by the president of the Security Council in probably the coming hour or so, depending on how much negotiation there is over the wording. We were able to get some reports of what's going to be that was in the draft press statement, and nothing unpredictable, quite frankly. Strongly condemned the violence in Libya, called for restraint by the Libyan government, urging an investigation into the violent crackdown, and also urging that foreign nationals to leave if they wish to. So nothing outstanding or extraordinary in at least this draft version that we were able to get some wording on. But now what's going to happen is the 15 members of the Security Council will hammer through the wording of this press statement. All of them have to agree on the wording. Then the president will come out from the chambers of the Security Council and read that press statement.
So it's nothing more than a statement, no suggestion of any action, any proposals?
Not that we're hearing yet, and it sounds like that's pretty much going to be it. Now, when you look at what the Security Council can do, at the top end, there's a resolution that is a binding resolution that has some kind of call to action and some kind of international legal ramifications if that isn't carried out. Then there's a presidential statement below that, and then a press statement below that. And what we're hearing is that it's going to be that press statement. Now, that doesn't mean that down the line further action can be taken or further meetings will merit different statements or maybe even a resolution. But right now, all